Hello there lovely people, it's Alex from Nintendo Life here, and welcome to Ask Alex yet again, the show where you ask me your burning Nintendo questions and I do my very best to answer them. So, going straight ahead with the big question, Christopher has asked me, what is going on with the Amiibo stockage situation in the UK? Now I'm going to take the opportunity to broaden this question a little bit so that we don't just include the UK but also the US, because we have a lot of people who watch from the US and I don't want to alienate anyone, particularly not for a main question. The situation at the moment, as many of you are aware, is that Amiibo are becoming increasingly difficult to find. People are making pre-orders and their pre-orders are getting cancelled even, and it's a bit ridiculous, to be honest. A lot of these people are real die-hard fans who have been really looking forward to getting their hands on these particular Amiibo. You've got Shulk, King Dedede, I think Meta Knight's in there as well, and Sonic, and I think Mega Man. I think that's the whole wave, actually. The fact of the matter is that these are almost impossible to find in-store, online, anything like that. And even if you can find them in-store, those stores that do have stock left have inflated the price. In the UK, at least, the inflation's only about £5, but that's nearly a 50% increase, which is a bit cheeky, to be honest, and really, it's not on. The fact is that people saw that the first wave of Amiibo were really popular, and so scalpers, people who just buy things without the intention of using them, only to sell them on for an inflated profit, have been buying them all out just so they can sell them all and make a quick profit. Now, I understand buying and selling, that's just how business works. You know, supply and demand, but it is a little bit cheeky when you're buying these huge quantities of this rare item simply to try and make money from it and essentially taking it, or at least taking the opportunity to purchase them, away from other people. Nintendo haven't exactly been on the ball when it comes to stocking and making sure that there is enough stock. I mean, nobody could have predicted it to begin with, but they haven't done an awful lot to try and build that back up, particularly for the most recent waves. The first and second waves are usually in stock now, so Nintendo are slowly catching up, but really, I think they should be doing it a little bit quicker. Having said that, I don't understand the process of trying to get these all out on time and restocking or anything like that. I'm not a business mind, so I don't know. It may be that they're working really hard and this is all they can do at the moment. I just don't know. If it is, then fair play Nintendo, but learn, and next time, maybe more stock. This is an issue that will not rectify itself until Amiibo become either less popular or the stock increases dramatically in all areas. I can only hope that the latter is going to be the solution, because I love these little guys, I really do. I've got 4 now. I like them. How long will this take? Well, again, I'm not a business mind, but if I were to put a slightly educated guess on there, I would say probably maybe even about 6 months, because everything's got to be made in advance and Nintendo has to know what the demand is going to be, and that can take an awful lot of planning and production and everything. It just takes time, and that's something that unfortunately we're just going to have to wait for. Quickfire questions now, and Andrew has asked me, what Nintendo Land minigame do I think would translate best into a full retail experience? Now, if you'd asked me this about a year ago, I probably would have laughed at you and said, that's ridiculous. But look at Captain Toad. Started off as a minigame, became a retail game. So if we're going to go with that, I'd say probably, I think it's Legend of Zelda Battle Quest, I think it's called. It's basically a first-person or third-person run around, shoot arrows, swipe people with the motion controls. I don't think it should necessarily take on the Legend of Zelda franchise, but I think that that sort of style of gameplay could be really nice. There aren't that many motion control games on the Wii U, so it'd be nice to get a couple of them in, particularly if you're playing with some people who aren't perhaps as familiar with gaming as you are. Ice Cream Person has asked me whether I believe there'll be an add-on for the Wii U that will allow you to play 3DS games on the television. This is something that's been done a number of times before with the Super Game Boy and the Game Boy Play, I think it was called, that could play Game Boy Advance games on the GameCube. So it's not like Nintendo are a stranger to this, but I really doubt we're going to get one. The thing with the 3DS is that its graphics are capable of producing really quite nice 3D polygons and things like that, especially for the little system and the little screen. But that's the little screen, that's where we're coming to. The resolution on the 3DS is pretty low by modern standards, and as such, blown up on a big screen probably wouldn't look too appealing, so I think Nintendo probably don't want to give that image of the 3DS by saying, yeah, they don't want to emphasize that how low the resolution is. Also, I think that, frankly, the 3DS is perfectly comfortable to play with, and it's not like it's got the disadvantage of not having a decent screen at the end of the day, like the original Game Boy and the Game Boy Advance, which didn't have any backlights or anything like that. So I think that the 3DS is pretty much fine as it is. And finally, Jack has asked me, what are my main hopes for Zelda Wii U? This is an interesting one because I did play some Skyward Sword. I didn't complete it, but I must admit, I wasn't particularly involved with Skyward Sword. I didn't really appreciate it in the same way that I did other Zelda games. My main hope then is probably that Zelda Wii U won't be a sequel to Skyward Sword, but at least not in gameplay. I wouldn't mind if the story carried on, because that's fairly sort of insubstantial when it comes to actually enjoying the game. What's more important is the gameplay, and so far the gameplay does look pretty different. So I'm hopeful, and I think I'm going to really enjoy it. Another thing I really wanted to have is to have maybe a slightly darker undertone than some of the more recent Zelda games. I mean, I loved Wind Waker to pieces, and it is one of my favourite Zelda games, but I do think that the darker Zelda games, such as Majora's Mask, I mean, it could be a bit quirky at times, and Link's Awakening was a bit dark. That's a rubbish example. Why did I say that? I would love to see a slightly darker undertone in the more modern Zelda, so Zelda Wii U would be a brilliant place to start, because it's great when you get that real sort of sense of dread and unease in a game, and Zelda pulls it off brilliantly. Basically, I want Majora's Mask 2. I didn't just say that. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, why don't you spin attack that subscribe button and head on over to nintendolife.com for all sorts of lovely Nintendo related content. Thank you again for watching. Bye bye.